Okay, good morning, everybody. Welcome to our area director training and division director training, as well as a little bit of finance training. We've got a pretty packed agenda today, and we're also going to have a little short deck meeting after the training is over to kind of go over expectations and the calendar and what we're going to be doing this year. So without further ado, the first part of our training, and I'm going to share my screen here, is going to be on lessons learned by Jerry Steele for contests. And she is going to give us a little bit of information on online contests and how all of that worked for her as part of a project that she is doing. Without further ado, it is 10:03, and I am going to pass the lectern over to Jerry Steele.
Thank you, Kirsten. Let's see if I can get did my screen share okay? Good. Yes, today I'm going to share with you lessons learned that I had from helping to put on the online contest this last year. It was part of my pathway, and the other part of the pathway was choosing the alternative, the choice there that you can choose to share with lessons learned, and this is the lessons learned part of it. So today what I'm going to do is give you a brief introduction to my project, and then we're going to talk about the 4 P's of projects, which is product, people, process, and project leadership. And then I'm going to wrap it up, give you some resources to do forward, and then if you'll hold your questions to the end, you can post them in the chat, and then I've asked Kurt Mincer to help me corral all the questions, and if we don't have time to answer them, I'll answer them and have Kirsten distribute the answers later. My lessons learned project was level 4, and the project itself was to be the contest chair at both an area and a division contest. Now, who did I ask for the feedback that I'm going to give you today? And they were Toastmasters that were the directors, the contestants, the helpers, as well as some of the attendees. And of course, we want to know why all these things happened and the way they happened. So this is the lessons learned so that we can gather feedback and improve forward. As a project manager, we call this a project retrospective, and in Toastmasters, it's an evaluation. I recorded all the ideas and the suggestions from the session, the lessons learned session that I had, and today's presentation is compiled from those comments. First, the speech contest rule book starts out with the purpose. And speech contests are an important part of the Toastmasters educational program at start. And then it says they provide an opportunity for Toastmasters to get speaking experience, as well as an opportunity for Toastmasters to learn by observing proficient speakers. Well, one of the things that we want to do is not only give opportunity for proficient speakers, we want to give a proficient speech contest. Now, I'll show this back at the end again, so don't try to write down the URLs. But if you go to Toastmasters International and Google for the speech contest rulebook, the 2021-2022 rulebook has already been posted. And you're going to want to read and reread these rules so that you know what a quality contest is supposed to be like. And then also search online contest best practices. And you will find a nice handout that summarizes a lot of the things that I've talked about here today, but in a way that it goes into a lot more detail than what we're going to have time to do. So first, I'm going to talk about Zoom as a platform. First, as a project manager, we always assess what the risks are. And the risk, very much so with Zoom as a platform, as all of us have discovered, is we've got technical issues. So the way we mitigated all that was through redundancy and a lot of planning. And I'm going to share with you a lot of these redundancy and planning that we did. Number one, the contest chair and the chief judge need to have text-capable phones. If there is an emergency, if somebody has gotten sick, you have to leave, they've lost power, a lot of times you can get a text message through on a phone, whereas you can't ring the phone and actually talk to somebody. So that text capability came in handy a couple of times. People lost power due to storms. Everybody that participates, contestants as well as all of the helpers and the contest master, you need to have a backup connection. We get so used to using our wireless in our house that people forget that sometimes there's issues with that. And if they can, if they'll physically connect their computer to their modem, instead, it's a lot more solid. But if not, have a backup. So an iPhone or an iPad that might be capable of doing a hotspot, for instance. I had one contestant who logged on as early as we started the session. She told me that she had lost power at her house, and she was able to drive to her office and be there and be ready as a contestant. She had a backup plan. And the second thing having to do with the connection is the audio quality. Some people don't realize how bad their computer audio is. Now today, you might be able to see that I've got Bluetooth headphones on. And one of the reasons I like using the Bluetooth headphones is the microphone is actually here in the setup. You're not really hearing what comes in off of my computer, and the quality is much, much better. So think about that audio quality and make sure that your contestants also get a chance. We also had people turn off their video except for the contestant and the contest chair to save bandwidth. And this also kept, if people have their computer in speaker view, it kept pop-ups from happening. And some of the speakers had that on there so that they could see the timer. And here was this distraction of popping up. I had another suggestion from some people that I did not have to do, but one of the things was turn chat off during the speakers. And that also keeps that chat box from popping up on the speakers. You can just instruct the audience just to not use the chat during the time that people are speaking. It's just like when we tell them not to enter or leave the room during a speech. One thing people don't think about is their iPad or their iPhone, and we use those a lot, is to turn their screen horizontal. Don't make it vertical, turn it horizontal. And the reason is that it gives the speaker a little more room to put their hands without them cutting off on the side. That is important as part of the contestants briefing. And with Zoom, we all have to be aware of the speaking area so that people won't lose part of the gestures and part of their body. I'll go over that again a little bit here in the contestants briefing. You have to be able to handle all the movement, and I will also talk about this a little bit more, between the main room and the breakout room. If your person is doing that controlling has never done that before, they need to rehearse that a lot, because this is something that we are having to do to cover the logistics of the contest. And then for the timer, using a virtual background for the green, the red, and the yellow was important. But we also instructed the timer to be sure and cover their camera. As you can see here, when I cover the camera, only my background shows through on Zoom. And if you haven't thought about that, that keeps the person from being there, and then you can see that it is the timer and that there's just the color behind there. Our big issue was planning of the contest. And this is the part that helped everybody be able to put on an efficient contest and understand what was going on. We handled all the certificates of eligibility in email prior to the briefing. We occasionally had somebody that didn't answer that, and so when they got to the briefing, we made them give it to us immediately. That way we didn't have to handle it at contest time. Then we also, and this is where we discussed, in table topics contests and the evaluation contest, you have to remove people out of the main room. The table topics contestants can't hear what the other contestants are answering. One of the contests I was involved with, we made the main room the room where the contest was going to be conducted, and we moved the contestants off to the breakout room. The other one, we flipped it. And so just before we started the official contest, as the judge was going to say that let the contest begin, we moved everybody over to the breakout room and only moved the contestants into the main room. And the logic behind that was so that if somebody lost, a contestant lost their connection, if they came back in, they would only be in the main room. They couldn't hear anything that was going on in the breakout room. It did take some more planning to do that. So think through what way you want to do that. And that's up to you and your contest. I liked just leaving it on in the main room and risking whether or not somebody lost connection and came back rather than moving everybody. But if you have an excellent Zoom master / sergeant at arms, it was handled very smoothly in the one that I attended. Then we planned 2 meetings before the contest. We had a meeting with the contestants. At a separate time, we had a meeting with the helpers and the judge and any of the contest master, that sort of stuff. The meeting with the contestants, we had them test all of their audio. And this is where we stressed to them that the speakers and the microphone on the computer might not be adequate. If the person had a good computer, then it was fine, but they were able to test it. We had them step 3 to 5 feet back away from the camera. Today, I'm sitting in a chair, and so that's not the way I would have competed. If I was competing, I would move back further so that you can be seen from the waist up. And that way you can see the gestures better. Discuss every bit of the logistics of the meeting. And that means covering when they'll show up for briefing, what they are expected to do. At the briefing, before the contest, all we did was draw for speaking order. And if somebody had changed their computer or their audio, then they also had another opportunity to test it. But most everything we did in that meeting with the contestants 2 or 3 days prior to the contest. We had them test the speaking area so that they knew when they backed up or moved to the left or moved to the right, that they could be seen properly and that they weren't getting their head chopped off or they weren't getting their arm chopped off. You want to discuss the logistics of the meeting so that they know about moving back and forth between those meeting rooms. And then we also told them that the contest chair was going to ask every contestant, is your microphone on and are you ready? By them having to physically answer that question. Yes, you could hear that their speaker was on, and occasionally somebody forgot to unmute their microphone. And as we know, that's pretty common. Everybody, is your microphone unmuted? So ask, and that way you have a double check of what's going on for that contestant. In the meeting with the judges and the helpers, one, we collected the certificates of eligibility if they hadn't emailed them to us. The contest chair, the contest chair and the chief judge need to take their agenda and try to work out all the timing, just like you would with an agenda of a regular meeting. We were able to run our contest within 5 minutes of the time we had allotted because we had worked out the timing. We knew when the breaks were going to happen. We we just were able to pad a little bit extra in between so that if we did go over, it wasn't much. And we were able to adjust later on in some of the contents, that sort of stuff, in order to get on time. With the Sergeant at Arms, just like Kristen did today, we had the Sergeant at Arms, the timers, and the vote counters put the roll in front of their name or right after their name, mostly in front. That way their names weren't on there. And so they were anonymous to everybody, as well as the judges. Now with the judges, you want to assign a number of some kind. And this was helpful because the chief judge then could know which judges were physically present, and that way they knew for sure if somebody had left the meeting and come back that they had all their judges. In our case, we had several area contests going on that day, and some judges could not judge in every contest. So we had to know which judges were available and make sure they were there during the contest that they could judge. Make sure they understand no photos and no names whatsoever. They put judge number 1, judge number 2 as their name. And then with these judges and the helpers, we went through all the logistics of the meeting again. Not only testing microphones, we had the most important thing we did was that cell phone number was known to every contestant, every helper, and that chief judge and the contest chair knew that they all had that number. Now, occasionally somebody would contact us via email, but that's very inconvenient for the contest chair to know for sure. They have to go over and get their cell phone and check, did they get any emails right before the contest started? Be sure and use that texting. So here's some feedback we got on what can be improved. Now, I've incorporated a lot of these in the comments that I have just presented. We had a shortage of people. Division F is small in that we have, and some of the clubs don't participate very well in the contest. At one point, Ahmad and I were it on the contest. We did not have a separate Zoom master. It made it very inconvenient. We were managed to do that because we had planned everything out completely. But I highly recommend that you have a separate Zoom master, Sergeant at Arms, somebody that can help control everything, can mute people. People forget and come in. If the meeting's already started, they come in and their microphones are hot. Make somebody there so that they can control everything. And that helped, because then the person that has to also move everybody out of the main room to the breakout room, or move everything, or move contestants back and forth, if they knew that. Have some backups for all the roles. Have a person in your back pocket that can almost substitute for just about anything, if at all possible. As I said, we had family emergencies. We had contestants not show because they had something that happened at the last minute. We had a contestant with technology issues. And this was a way of, by mitigating all those possibilities, we had a perfect contest. It was wonderful. We handled all of those emergencies. There was one contestant that didn't show because of a family emergency, but that was understandable. I had feedback from some other contests. People are used to being social. They type messages in the chat while somebody's speaking. And that might be a distraction in the contest. There is a way to turn chat off, but your Zoom master or whoever's controlling it will have to remember to turn chat back on so that you can communicate. And if that's the way that all of the results are being reported from a timer to a chief judge, for instance, then you need to have that chat on in order for them to be able to do it once the speaker is finished. So be sure and work out all those logistics. Now, turning the video off did help with bandwidth. We only had one person that lost a little bit of their audio at one point, but it was not enough to, it did not affect their speech, and it just immediately kicked back in. And this kept a distractions at a minimum for being able to turn off and on video. Be sure and ask the question, as I said, I forgot to put it in my contest script. As many times as I have judged, been the contest master, contestant, etc., I had a contest script. And I still forgot the first contestant to say, have you unmuted your mic and are you ready? So put that in your contest script. That's one of my lessons. So what we did well, in the feedback we got from contestants and helpers and directors that all had participated in contests using Zoom in other districts, they all said we had the most efficient contest, that we were the best prepared, and that we had briefed everybody properly. Everybody was just ecstatic about the difference in what we did and what some of the other districts did. So this is important, that practice, those briefings, everything helped to contribute to have a quality contest. And we had very few issues with the technology because we had worked through a lot of those issues. And the timing went extremely well. If you scheduled a contest to be 2 hours or 2.5 hours, which is about typical if you're running 2 contests, and it turns to be 5 hours, people are not real happy with you. Let's respect everybody's time. So I have put my email up here, jerry@jerryjsteele.com. And if you do have some questions or get panicked and at the last minute, Kirsten and Ahmad and other people can help you. And especially for the area directors that may not be familiar with contests, and you're going to have to conduct a brand new contest. Now, here are those resources that I mentioned before, and both of them can be gotten by Google, but not Googling, but the search box at International that says speech contest rulebook and the online contest best practices. So at this time, Ahmad, Arena, Kurt, was there any questions that were in the chat? Because I can't see the chat when I have my screen up.
I don't see any. I see a couple comments, but I don't see any questions.
All right, we'll show the
Jerry,
comments.
Dean
Yes.
has his hand raised.
Okay, thank you. Dean.
Thank you so much. It's been a great presentation. I've really enjoyed it. One of the things that I would comment on that I experienced when I was in a Texas contest was, if you're a judge, do not assume that the bandwidth problem is their problem.
Oh.
I had somebody interrupt a speaker during their speech, and the problem was on their end, and they stopped the person. And that is really unfair. To let it play out. It's better to just let it play out and then worry about it, rather than stopping them and saying something or getting involved in it. That would be one of my suggestions. The other thing is it's really important. I think you emphasized it at the end, but I would want to re-emphasize the fact that timing. Make sure you get done quickly. Don't waste as much time on counting. Streamline your counting. So when you're counting the ballots, streamline that, streamline the voting process as best you can to make sure that that is not a huge holdup. It always takes time, but you can get the judges back and start the contest. So as soon as you're done with judging, go back to the room, start the next contest. The ballot counters don't have to be there. Correct. So you can get going on the next step. Those are two things that I would just add to that. But thank you so much for this. Great job.
That's a good contribution there. You definitely want all those logistics between you and those ballot counters and the judges to know exactly what you're going to do. And also the contest master can do fill that way. And they also have some idea of how long they can interview contestants or interview the target speaker in order to fill pad for that timing that is needed in the contest. Other questions? Nick, you had your hand up.
Yes, and also not quite a question. It's more a follow-up comment on Dean's. If you have someone on your contest team who's sufficiently tech savvy, creating like a Google form to serve as a digital ballot proved to be very, very efficient as far as streamlining the intake of ballots, because that form, it could be Google or some other form, right? But that'll put all the judges' votes in a spreadsheet online, and then the chief judge and the ballot counters can just look at it through a screen share together and count together. And it takes like 3 minutes to tally votes that way. You just have to be careful to only share that form link with the judges and no one else, and make sure, of course, the judges don't share that with anyone else. So there's risks there that you may want to, because of that, you may not want to do that idea. But if you feel that convenience is worth the risk, then it can be very effective.
Always have a paper backup just in case that doesn't work. But definitely go over that in that briefing before the contest. Don't change what you're going to do between the briefing and the actual contest.
Yes.
We did have that. We had that in our contest, and we had a separate Google Drive, and we had all of the contestants. And then when the ballots came in, they actually came in over email. They were pasted into that Google Drive, and we were able to put down the ranking or the numbers and be able to tally those up. It was so easy. That was the best ballot counting I think that I had ever seen. And I've been in a lot of contests as a ballot counter.
And it was easy for the judges too. We got feedback from those judges that they loved just being able to click the little radio button, like this contestant got first, this contestant got second, this contestant got third, and then they were done.
And that was one thing I forgot to put on a slide to remind me to say that. I actually wrote out the form. The third place winner is, and the second place winner is, and that will represent the district, the division at the district contest if the winner is not available. And I had it completely written out in a Word document, cut and paste, put the names in, and then cut and pasted the results in a private chat to the contest master. And that way it was all written out. There wasn't any accident about who was first, second, and third. I have been in a contest where somebody just wrote names down in an order and did not specify this was third, second, and first. And they announced them in the opposite order. And the chief judge had to stop the contest and say, no, that's not the result. So it was very embarrassing to happen. So definitely write it out. We're all nervous when we're speaking and we all forget things. But I was going to do that. I was going to put that in the slides and I totally forgot. Kurt, what was some of the other comments that were in there?
It says the Zoom master could also have a waiting room turned on if a breakout room contestant lost connections.
That's a good point. I forgot about specifying. If you use a waiting room, that way somebody can't just pop into the right room, the wrong room by accident.
And I'll have to share something. I was a judge here and I was a judge at someplace up in Michigan that I'm not going to talk about, but the same contest with essentially the same number of contestants in this district took a little over 2 hours, and in that district took 5.5 hours. You talk about, I never wanted to be a contest judge again after I was there. It really, this group really knows how to run contests, and I'm proud to be part of this group.
And I know Kirsten and I both came from District 50. They also rehearsed all of this the same way. They had contest training. They made sure everybody did what they were supposed to do when they did it. And the district representative also watched and observed as the contest was going on and would give feedback at the end, so that they would bring the contest master, the chief judge, and them over in a corner. And just like we get an evaluation at Toastmasters for speeches, they gave an evaluation for the contest, and that helped people learn to improve also. So you might have somebody, a friend, do that for you if you're contest master and you're the area director or the division director, so that you get some feedback for the next time that you have contests. Any other questions?
Okay.
John,
If
I saw
not-
you raised your hand. Did you put it back down?
Well, I did. I had a comment I wanted to make. I have seen, I'm not going to call it the contest, but I've seen some contests where the contest chair thinks that interviewing the contestants while the judges are away, they think that was, how do I say that? They felt like they had to give each contestant a certain amount of time. And back to the efficiency of things, you know, that is really just a time to fill time before the judges are completed. So my suggestion is to have the contest chair work with the chief judge and say, what's your process? About how long do you think you'll need? And then backfill to your contestant. So you ask them give them 1 minute, 2 minutes at the most. Don't think you have to fill a 5-minute slot for each contestant.
No.
That goes back to the frustration I felt like, good night. So anyway.
Yeah, 1 to 2 questions and keep it short answers, just like table topics.
Yeah.
If you have to, as the contest chair, you can always go back and interview the same people, you know, a second time if you have to. Go back through them until you end. But usually I'm able to pad enough that I'm on the last contestant when I'm notified that it's time to continue from. But that is something that you definitely want to coordinate between the contest master and the chief judge. And one of the reasons for wanting to do this was to bring up some of this, to have you thinking about what makes a good quality contest. Reading the rule book's one thing, and actually doing it is another. All right, Kirsten, back to you.
Thank you so much, Jerry, for this amazing presentation. This was so awesome. And area directors and division directors, hopefully you took some notes. It is going to be extremely important for you to read all of the handbook on contests, because you are going to be running area contests together, maybe separate, and then of course the division contests that are going to be coming up. It's 10:35. I am actually going to open the breakout room so everybody can go into their respective breakout room. Hopefully you'll be able to join. I'm going to join the division director breakout room in just a few minutes once everybody goes to all rooms. Good morning, everybody.
Good morning, Kirsten.
That's pretty funny. I have got a mod assigned to this room, but I have not seen him come over yet.
It might have not popped up yet. Mine popped up a little late.
It just says that he is not joined.
Okay.
Monty, were you ever a division director?
Kristen, no, I was not.
You weren't? Okay. Well, it's really funny because I was never an area director, but I was an assistant area director for a year. So that was That was pretty interesting.
I was an area director twice.
Were you?
Yes.
Dean, you don't need to be in this room if you don't want to be. It's going to be completely up to you.
I feel honored.
I'm just jumping back and forth.
We got the whole
Okay.
trio here.
Well, there you go. Well, we've only got 2 division directors in here, but that's okay. That is not
Might be
a
the future trio.
I was going to say, I apologize for not having my camera on. I'm having all kinds of technical issues today. And every time I turn my camera on, it freezes all of you guys. So
That's okay. Well, we don't want to be frozen. I mean, it is summertime, but we don't want to be frozen.
exactly.
Well, hopefully Ahmad is going to join. Stephen Shaner should have actually joined also today to assist with the division training, but alas, he is not here either. Man, hopefully Ahmad will come in here. Okay, so I was a division director a couple of years ago, and as a division director, of course, you're going to have between 3 and 5 areas that you're going to be taking care of. So basically, you're overseeing all of the area directors and all of those clubs underneath them. Your biggest thing that you're going to be doing this year, you're going to have to turn in a budget, and that budget is going to have to be turned in to us probably, Madi, within the next, 2 or 3 weeks, I think, month. So we can get that so we can get that input into our budget.
As soon as possible.
Okay. So the first things first, let's talk budget. Your budget is going to have to include everything from each one of the areas all the way filtered down to the club level. So talk to your area directors about how much you think that they're going to be traveling to go and visit their clubs, what kind of open houses they're going to have, and how much they think that they're going to be submitting for food for open houses. You are going to also have to budget for trophies and awards, not only for the division level, but also for the area level. So talk with all of your area directors on how much they think they are going to spend on each one of their contests with either ribbons. Like what I did as a division director is at the area contest, we had ribbons that went around their neck. We had medals that went around their neck for first, second, and third place. And then for the division contest, we actually had trophies that we ordered. So have them figure out what kind of budget that they're going to need for those. Are the areas going to want to do trophies? Or are they going to want to do medals around their neck? That's going to be completely up to them. How much do you think, or are they think that they are going to have to spend on postage? Because we're going to have to be mailing out all of the trophies and all of the awards, since all of the contests this year are going to be online. We are not going to have any contest that is going to be in person this year. Toastmasters let us know either it's all going to be online or it's all going to be in person. So this year we're going to do all online because there are some clubs that are not meeting in person. So postage. And then, gosh, what was I going to say? And how much it's going to cost them for each one of the trophies. Also included in the budget is going to be how much do you think that they're going to be spending on paper and printing? Because you're going to have sometimes, well, I mean, I don't know how much we did this in our first online contest, but printing out certificates of first, second, and third place, printing out all of the eligibility forms, those probably won't need to happen because those will probably be online. But if the area directors and you division directors are going to be sending out certificates of completion, first, second, and third place, printing it out on really nice stock paper and in color, make sure that you put that on your budgeting form. Madi, can you think of anything else that from a reimbursement perspective?
Well, obviously, we're still going to be doing our training sessions on Zoom, so the TLIs we'll not have to budget for, even probably as we start to meet in person again, right? Because TLIs might be still in person this
True.
next.
Now, in the wintertime, maybe everything is going to be opened up by the wintertime, but this summer, both of you division directors are going to have to set up makeup TLI training. I don't know if Division B and D are working together, but you'll have to determine on your calendar when you're going to do that makeup training. So each division will have to get their makeup training so they can get all of their officers trained. Now, let's say in the wintertime, if you are meeting in person for the makeup TLI trainings, then the makeup TLI trainings is going to have to be a zero cost, right? Isn't that right, Marty? It's going to have to be a zeroed out cost for the training.
True, we usually break even.
Break even. Yeah, that was the word that I wanted to use. So in the past, what we did for our division makeup training is we would charge $10 or $15 per person who came, and that would cover the food, that would cover the venue, and pretty much break even. Nick, you had your hand up?
Yeah, so when you were talking about open houses, that budgeting for open houses, was that to fund or contribute to club open houses or?
That
Okay,
would contribute to club open houses for let's say if somebody wanted to buy some food and have an actual open house. Now, I haven't seen
Sure.
any actual physical open houses lately. There may have been one or two, but not very many. So I would push those area directors to ask the clubs to do open houses for membership growth, for sure.
sure. And then with postage and shipping, is it appropriate to, if the divisions and areas plan to send out materials by mail, like flyers or postcards of, thanks or welcome and such, that's appropriate to budget for as well?
100% yes. Yeah, that's all a
Okay.
part of marketing. But we'll
Cool.
have to have that number. I mean, I don't know how much it's going to cost for postcards and postage. So you may want to you may want to take a look at that and do a little bit of
Yeah.
sleuthing and say, hey, it's going to cost $300 or $400 or $500. A postage is expensive. And that was some of the feedback that we got from Stacy in our meeting yesterday, was that she wished that she had put a little bit more in the budget for postage. That's going to be a really big expense for you, this year, depending on, how you send out your awards.
Well, yeah, you can
Sure.
add all that up, right? I mean, the postcards cost so much. We can times that by the number of members we want to send postcards to, times the number of times per year, equals postage budget or postcard budget, and then trophies. You know how much they weigh.
Yes.
Then you figure out what USPS.com says for 2 pounds or whatever it is.
And you're
yeah, I
going to
think-
you're probably going to have to buy boxes and bubble tape. I mean, all of that stuff right there, we don't think about that stuff until we buy it and we're like, oh, holy crap. Now it costed $15 to send off this $20, this $20 award,
Yeah.
So it's going to be super important that you look at all of that, every single thing.
And then one last question. One of the things I know I want to do as a division director this year is support at least one speechcraft. Help someone complete their speechcraft and let Division D be host or sponsor, so to speak. And I'm wondering whether it's appropriate to use district funds budgeted to paying the fee for the speech crafters.
Marty, what is your thoughts on that? Because I'm not 100% sure. And Dean, I could actually get your feedback on that too, because you hosted that Speechcraft this year.
Right, Dean is an expert on that online speechcrafts.
You're the expert,
Now, on the
Dean, and you
speechcrafts, I
got your
don't know
hand
how
raised.
I don't know how much you charge, Dean, but yeah, that is that could be an expense. I don't know how many people you would have. You know, and a lot of the times the Speechcraft, they turn into members. So that money ends up going towards their membership. But Dean, could you let us
Yeah.
know?
That was a regret I have for the way I set mine up. I actually paid for that directly myself. I would not do that again. Not because I paid for it, because it was $150, not because of that reason, for the 3 times 5 members, but because I would have charged them, if I had it to do over again, I would have charged them at least the 45 to do it. One of the problems that I had was that transferring them to being a member afterwards, they just joined local clubs. So I would have kept it where I paid the 45. Each one of them pays the $45 or 55, whatever we do with whatever the club charges. So at least the $45, and then tell them as soon as you're done with Speechcraft, you're now a member. And that then would allow them to join the club immediately. I was doing it for different reasons to try and start a new club, but I would not do it that way again.
So Dean, if you charged them, and this is my thoughts, if we charge the people, and it's $45 for each Speechcrafter, is that right? Okay, so if we charge them, then they would have a vested interest in starting a Toastmasters club instead of not charging them,
Sure.
and then they could go and join any other club that they
Yeah.
wanted to.
The
Good feedback. Very good
Yeah.
feedback.
And I guess what I'm wondering is if we can legitimately charge that, because I happen to be club treasurer this year in my home club, and because of that, I reviewed what it is and isn't appropriate for clubs to spend their funds on, and they make it pretty clear that you can't sponsor their education within Toastmasters programs. They specifically name pathways, and I could pull up the link and share that, but it's basically like you can only pay for venue and food, like that's it, or contribute to the Ralph Smedley Memorial Fund. That's like what they list. Everything else is marked as not appropriate, and it's all centered around sponsoring or paying someone's tuition. And I assume it translates to Speechcraft tuition as well. But I didn't know if maybe there was rules were different at the division level, or if the rules were different for Speechcraft. So I can, I guess, hold my question and research it further, maybe work with Dean offline on that or what. But if we happen to know the answer now, I'd be all ears.
When
It
they
would affect
gave
my budget.
when they gave the training on Speechcraft, they brought up the fact that they didn't want clubs paying for it, and they wanted those attendees to pay for it. Now I got a sponsor being me, to offset the cost of the Speechcraft program, which is $10 times 5 if you get the 5 bundle, 10 bundle. They're bundled in 5, so no matter what you do, you might as well get 5 at least, because that's what you're going to pay for, is for 5. If you can find 5 members, the other aspect of it is whether you're going to do it to attract new members, or if you're going to do it as a boot camp sort of event. I think it's an easy sell to do it as a boot camp for existing members. Everybody who's starting off a new path, hey, our club is running a boot camp. If you're interested in joining, it's $45, and come on over and we're going to do a boot camp and get you started on your new path. I think that's a huge advertising opportunity for a club that wants to take that initiative.
Yeah, the intent for me or our division supporting a Speechcraft would be to potentially start a new club or to reinvigorate existing clubs, getting an influx of members in struggling clubs for a division. But at any rate, I think our sponsorship may be more in sweat equity instead of financial equity is what it's sounding like.
Yeah.
I guess I can put it in the budget and then our finance manager can say, no, you can't do that.
True. Go ahead and put it in the budget, and then
Yeah.
when we have our final budget meeting, we'll go, okay, this isn't allowed, and we'll just let you know. But
Yeah.
it's better to put more into the budget and then us say, yeah, you're gonna have to cut that out, than not put enough and go, oh man, I can't believe I didn't do this. For
Right.
sure.
Thank you.
Is there a specific format that you prefer the budget requests be in? Is there a standard template, or is it just however we can list it out?
Well, we have a standard budget template, but that's not necessarily how you need to submit that. If you have Excel, go ahead and just open up Excel and put everything in a workbook and break it out. This is how much I think we're going to spend on this, and this.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
With that, could we maybe get a copy of that template? Because I'll probably do both. I'll take your template and run with it.
Ahmad, did you have a template last year when you submitted your budget?
I did. I can forward that template to Jabbar, Nick, Carolyn, and Vicky.
Perfect.
Yeah, it's on my work. It's on my work laptop, but I'll be home probably later on this evening. So I'll forward that all to them once I get home.
Okay. All right. Do you have any other questions about the budget process? Nope. Okay, Ahmad. So we went over budgeting, and we went over just a little bit about TLI, makeup TLI training. We need to talk about contests.
Right. Okay, so here's my suggestion when it comes to contests, because I'm just going to say from Division F, usually my personality is I like to have the contest team and everything completely assembled within 2 weeks of the event. That way, if something happens and I've got to get someone as a backup plan filled in, then I've got enough time to fill in spots. Now, I will say Division F for like the last year and a half, we have literally filled the contest team maybe 2 to 3 days before the event, which makes me nervous. So as a goal, I would always try to get that team assembled 100% at least 2 weeks before the event, because something will happen to one of those team members is not going to be able to make it. So for your area contest, you're going to have 6 judges, which would be your 5 voting judges and your 1 tiebreaker. And for the division contests, you're going to have 8 judges. And that's going to be your 7 voting judges and your 1 tiebreaker. They have made a suggestion that you do not pull a judge from any of the clubs that has a contestant in it. If you do have to pull a judge from that club that has a contestant, you want to make sure that you then also have judges from each of the clubs equally represented, so that there is no bias between one club versus another within those area contests. And then the same at the division. You want to make sure you have even number of judges between the areas, so that there's no bias with one specific area, if that makes any sense.
Yeah,
And then the tie-breaking judge cannot be a member of any of the clubs where the contestant came from.
Right.
And I think at the division, at least last year, the division level, they can't be from the home club, but they could be from the same area.
Right. So me personally, I didn't want to have any appearance of bias at all. I wanted it 100% unbiased. So that's just how I am, because I've got that mathematical background that I just don't want any chance that there could be a challenge at all. So what I did, and I can send you all four of you, the spreadsheet that I've developed. You don't have to necessarily use it, but I've set up a grid that shows
Hopefully that's a dead spot and not an accident.
I hope that that's a dead spot and not an accident too.
I guess to piggyback on the comments that Ahmad made there, is when we were looking at organizing our area and division contests, one of the suggestions was, and we started looking at this more and more, is to partner with another district or even another area or division, depending on at what level we're at, and reaching out to them and saying, hey, we'll provide judges to you, you provide judges to us. That way there's no chance of things being a sense of impropriety.
Yeah. How did you get a hold of clubs or divisions in other districts?
I was reached out to by Lark. Lark and I talked about Texas. So I joined their district for a few contests, and then they provided a couple to divisions to see. So we just kind of swapped a few judges in there.
Okay. Do you know how he got your contact info?
Lark,
She?
yeah,
Sorry. I wasn't
that's
sure.
right.
Sorry.
Yeah, no problem. No
That's
problem.
our national president.
Yeah, it was our past president. I had actually talked to her about a couple other things, and she asked me if I could be a judge, and I said, I'd be happy to be a judge. Can you have a couple people be judges for us? So I think just reaching out to a couple of the other districts, I don't think that anyone would say, yeah, that's not a good idea. Why would you want to do that? I think everybody could see the positive benefit of it.
It is, and there's a lot less issues of bias to get somebody in from a different district because they don't know who our speakers are.
Right.
And I have a lot of friends in District 50. And I know the PQD, she and I have been friends for quite a while. So I don't know who the district director is now. He was voted in. He wasn't the program quality director last year, but he was voted in this year. I think he transferred from California, but I don't know who he is. So if you need somebody, just reach out to us and we'll throw our feelers out there for sure. But most likely for your area contests, and the way that we've been doing it over here in District 63 is that the area directors do their contests together. And hopefully they're having the contest. Hopefully they're having that training over in the area director room right now about having those contests together. It just makes it so much easier. I thought it did. I mean, this was the first time I think, well, no, I think in District 50, we had that also. We had area contests together and it made for a little bit longer, but it was okay. So do you have any questions? Dean, you raise your hand again.
I was just going to comment on that when I was contest chair this past year, it definitely helped to have both of the contests together. There's a lot of benefits to it. You have less judges you need. That's huge. That's a huge aspect, is that you're using the same judges for multiple contests. That's a big part of the benefit of it. The only difficulty that we found was that it does make it a little longer, but if you streamline everything, it really worked pretty well. I thought it was really beneficial to do that.
Okay. So we went over contests and we went over TLI. So for the makeup TLI trainings, you know, when I was division director, I did division D and E together. Donna Brown and I, we hooked up. We were like this the whole year round because with her and I working together, it made things so much easier. Let me bring a mod back in here. Okay. It made things so much easier for us. So if you wanted a tag team with another division director to do your makeup training, I mean, that would be perfect. The only issue that we have with the makeup training and having divisions do it together is that you're doing it on one day. We're doing multiple divisions on one day. And then if somebody's like, well, I don't have that day available to me, and all the divisions are doing their makeup training on one day, then that could pose an issue. So I would reach out to the other division directors. I think that you all have your makeup training dates set, but I'm not 100% sure. And of course, for your makeup training that's going to be after the winter TLI, if you guys could just make sure that you stagger it, you know, we've got 5 divisions. So if we can do 3 different training dates, then that would be great.
And was it Jabbar and I have set our makeup this summer, July 31st at 1 p.m. So hopefully if people are busy Saturday mornings, that works. But then we've also resolved for winter TLI makeup to be a weekday, late afternoon. So maybe like 3 p.m. to 7 p.m. or something.
That would be good.
That way corporate club members who are used to doing Toastmaster stuff during business hours can sort of follow that trend, and they just have to stay a little later.
Okay.
But it was too short of a notice to come up with something. Hopefully by winter we can find people who can do workshops and stuff.
I would say go ahead and do it now. Find yourself an assistant division director, somebody who you can groom for an area director position or even a division director position. Go ahead and find that person right now. And they're going to be very valuable in assisting you with helping set up everything. Now, as far as dates are concerned, Maddie and Dean and I went over dates yesterday, and I think we're going to do that in the little mini deck meeting. We're going to talk a little bit about dates. We're going to give you the final date on when you have to have all the division contests done, and then y'all can back up from there, 2-3 weeks from there, because, right now in August, then that's when contest season starts. So the sooner you can get your contests in, the better.
I don't know if this was on your agenda or not. I've done some research on the Distinguished District program, but I would love you all's take on that and what kind of realistic goals we might set for ourselves around that, with our eye towards the distinguished, but also recognizing that all of our, I don't know the last time any of our divisions have earned the distinguished status, but I'm sure we've done it at some point. I just don't know.
I think the last one was in 2017, I think.
Okay.
I think that Gene was, I don't know if he was club growth director that year. I was looking back a few years ago, but it hasn't been that long ago. It was an uphill battle from last year. All I can say is set up phone calls with your area directors every month. See if you can do that every single month to find out, to kind of gauge how they're doing. These corporate clubs have really struggled, but I know that Dean has got a really good team to help resurrect a whole bunch of those. So the more we can resurrect and the more we can work with them and start new clubs, the better. And I'd like to set up monthly calls with each one of the divisions, like one division 1 month and one division a next month. And that'll take me all the way through the end of next Toastmasters year to kind of go over some training on, on whatever you guys need. So I'll be setting those phone calls up with you here pretty soon. Looks like Ahmad is having some issues.
Yeah.
Go ahead and assign him back to the room again. All right, so we need to actually talk about Concur, and we need to talk about submitting for reimbursements. Have you received any information from Toastmasters on logging into Concur yet? Do either one of you? Vicki, do you have a login for Concur from Toastmasters?
I think I got one last year as an AD. I
Okay.
never actually had to log in to use it, but I'm assuming it's still active.
Okay, Nick, how about you?
I have nothing with the word concur in any of my email accounts.
Okay. All right, send me an email or
Okay.
send Maudie an email and we'll send that off to Toastmasters to get you set up because you're going to have to submit for reimbursement for your items in Concur. And I am going to share my screen. Let me know if you guys can see it or not.
You can see
Okay.
it.
All right, Vicki, can you see my screen? I know you don't have your camera turned on.
I can, yes, thank you.
Okay, good. ConcurSolutions.com is where Concur is set up at. You will be receiving a login from Toastmasters. It will most likely be your Toastmasters number at toastmasters.org. I've got the 0 in front of mine. I don't know if you would have it in front of yours, but that is my member number. And then when you log in, they're gonna have you change your password, I'm sure. But I'll go ahead and sign in. So when you sign into Concur, that this is what it's going to look like. Now for me, just because I was finance manager, now I'm part of the trio, I'm the one who will go and approve expense reports. However, when you are going to submit for reimbursement for mileage or for your trophies, you're going to click Start a Report. And then that's going to bring you to the report page. The report name, let's say it's going to be awards. So I'll click on, I'll type in awards, and then down here at the bottom of the screen, I'll hit next. Now, we will add a new expense. This expense type, let's say it's going to be awards. Over here in this area is going to be the items that you are going to have to fill out. The items in red are mandatory. The items that don't have red are not mandatory. So let's say you went ahead and bought a trophy on June the 30th. Well, no, let's make it this Toastmasters year. Oh, hold on. Let's say 7-8. Purpose is going to be awards. The vendor name is where you purchased. The city of purchase, let's say Franklin, Tennessee. Most of the time you will have paid cash out of pocket. There's no other thing that you can put in here, even if you put it on a credit card. 145. Your reporting code, you're going to have to find it down here. So let's see, training, food and meals, lodging, marketing. I think it's under recognition.
Just seeing the list of those is helpful to know what kinds of things we should budget for.
It is, actually. You've got travel under here, under area director, and under division director. So when you do your travel, you can go ahead and enter in your travel here also. We're doing awards right now, but these are basically all we've got. You've got travel, you've got TLI expenses. And let's say if you host your TLI makeup training in person and you've got some expenses incurred with that, let's say you had to print out 50 pages for something and you've got, let's say $25 in those expenses, and you can submit that for reimbursement. Speech contest for division. So you've got your awards for your speech contest, your event period, and your event period right here is going to be 2021-07. Your subsidiary, that's going to be division. And then and then your comment, awards for division contest. Okay. Now, then you're going to hit attach receipt down here at the bottom. You must attach all receipts and they must be legible. We have to be able to see everything on the receipt because these expenses are going to be approved by the trio and then they're going to go up to Toastmasters. Toastmasters has to approve them before we release those funds to you. Mileage, very quickly, mileage is 14 cents per mile. You cannot submit any mileage for under 20 miles. Now, Nick, you're in Division D. You don't live that close. So if
No,
you're
I
going to
do.
be going from your house to Brentwood Early Risers, that's more than
Mhm.
20 miles, right? I
Mhm.
think it is. So you can submit mileage from your home to Brentwood, or let's say Comdata, which is up there in the Brentwood area also. Let's say it's 44 miles round trip. What you are going to have to do is take a screenshot of starting at your house all the way to Brentwood and back. And it will have to show exactly how many miles it is from your house to your area that you're going. And you can pretty much do that. I don't know if I can share.
So you mean like a screenshot of Google Map directions?
Yeah. Can you see my Google Maps right here?
Mm-hmm.
You can? Okay. So let's say I'm going from home. And then I'm going to,
Nissan Toastmasters. Yeah.
Nissan North America. Okay. If you take a look at this, it says that it's 32.8 miles. So if you do a screenshot of this on your snipping tool that says 32.8 miles right here, and it shows your to and your from location, and you save this, then you can upload this to a receipt. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to save this. Okay. Oh, let's see.
So when you say it has to be 20 or more miles, is that round trip or one way?
That is one way. It has to be 20 miles one way. So it's got to be 40 miles
Okay.
round trip.
Okay.
So then let me go back to the expense center and attach a receipt. And you'll have to browse it. It has to be a PNG, JPG, JPEG, PDF, or TIFF file.
Now, I'm curious, Kristen, in that particular scenario, right, where you would commute ostensibly to work anyway, and I know there's a club at where you work. Can you claim that as mileage? Or
Well, if I am going to Nissan Toastmasters as a program quality director visit
Mhm.
and not for regular work purposes, then yes, I can claim that. But if I'm just going to work and then I'm going to my club, then I mean, it's integrity, right?
Sure. Yeah. I'm not looking to cheat. I was looking to see if that's, yeah.
So there you go. There's your receipt. You'll be able to see the receipt image, and then whoever's approving it will be able to see that. So then here's your new expense. Then you can save this and then you submit it. So if I save this and I submit it, we're just going to have it deleted out. So I'll save this, and then that's $145. And I think
So
that has been, yeah, I think that's been submitted. So that'll be interesting to see who gets that. But I can go ahead and I can delete it, I believe. If you want to delete this expense, yes. So you can go in and delete And then you can go in and start a new expense if you want to. Okay,
So saving is the same as submitting.
it should be.
Okay.
If you click on new expense, then let's see, mileage. Transaction date is today. Business purpose. City of purchase. Franklin, cash out of pocket. 14 cents a mile times 100 miles. That's it. Well, let's say it's $14. From location, Mount Juliet to location, Franklin, Tennessee. Number of miles, let's say 100. Reporting code is going to be under travel. Event period, that's NA. And subsidiary is division. Travel, attach my receipt. It's already there, so we can attach that and save it.
Oh, there's a submit on the top right.
Submit on the top, I couldn't see it. There you go, submit report. And then that will submit it. And then it's gonna go to the appropriate person. Let me go ahead and cancel that out and delete this.
I see. So that report is a collection of expenses. Like you can save a bunch of expenses, but then when you're done putting all your expenses in, you submit your report.
Then you can go ahead and you can submit the report. That's right. Any questions? So this is where you're going to be submitting for your mileage, your food, your administration expenses, your postage. There is some postage and shipping down here. Let's see if I've got somebody in the chat. Okay.
And Kristen, how often should they submit these reports? It should be in a timely manner.
Yes, needs to be in a timely manner. I believe when I was finance director, we gave 60 days. And then after 60 days, we were like, yeah, you know, And especially then we had issues with people submitting their expense reports in the next year. Like they had taken their travel like in July of that year, and then they submitted in January of the next year. And we were like, that's like way too far. Like, just do it within 30 days. Just submit it within 30 days, and then we'll be okay. You have to have the receipts. That's going to be super important. If you don't have the receipts, then it's going to be bounced back to you. And the finance manager will let you know, hey, you don't have the receipt on this. When it gets sent back to you, you're going to get an email notification that the expense report has been sent back. Log back onto Concur and enter in the correct data or enter in the correct receipt and then resubmit it, and then it should go through. Every single time that you submit something and it gets approved, you're going to get an email that it was approved on this level, and then it's going to go to the next level.
So when you travel, make sure you take that screenshot that includes the mileage in there. So just go to the MapQuest, get the screenshot of your route with the mileage.
Otherwise, we'll return it back to you, or the finance manager will return it back to you and say, I can't see the mileage on this. So then you'll have to re-upload the mileage. I mean, it's not a big deal, but it's a hassle. And here's the biggest issue is that we get audited twice a year for expenses. And we've got an audit team that's going to be put in place this year, and they're going to audit everything. Now, if you go hog wild and go and buy all of your trophies at once, and it's $501. First of all, don't buy anything that's over $500 before you get approval. So the trio has to approve any purchases over $500. And it would be better for you to get approval now instead of ask for forgiveness later. Because then we'll ask you, why didn't you ask for approval before? We'll be nice about it, I promise. But the audit team will ding us if there's any expense reports submitted that are over $500.
So
The only thing that I can foresee would be even close to that would be awards, but I seriously doubt you guys are going to have anything that's going to be that high.
Even
Ribbons.
TLI catering.
TLI catering,
No.
I
Okay.
seriously
I
doubt it.
wouldn't know. I haven't budgeted it yet. So.
You know, I can tell you that the most expensive catering that we ever had was Heidi when she was a division director, and she would get the catering because she worked for Cracker Barrel. She would get the food from Cracker Barrel. Boy, that was good. Amanda said, oh, yes, it was. We would go there and it was super, super yummy, but it wouldn't be anything for her to spend like $300, $350 on catering for it. Yep.
Okay.
And when we had
Um,
contests in person, we would do that for the contest too. But since we're not doing any contests in person this year, there won't be any reimbursements for any sort of food or anything.
So speaking of hassle and receipts, let's say we do have a TLI that's in person, and we go to grocery stores or we go to, restaurants, drive-throughs or whatnot, and we have multiple receipts for refreshments. Is that a separate attachment, or is it okay to put all the receipts in like this little collage on a single scan?
I put all the receipts in a collage, but make
Yeah.
sure, I mean, if
No,
you've
It
got,
has to be legible, but they might have to turn their head or turn.
I would be careful about that. In my experience with Concur is that they want to, if everything you submit should have a receipt with it. Now you could send that same sheet in on each one of those, but if you're going to have a receipt, that receipt should go with that specific item.
remember, you can
Otherwise
do
Concur will
plus,
bounce it.
right, Dean, you can do plus expense report, expense report, expense report. So if you got paper
Right.
goods, then do that on one. Meals, or food, you could do that on another. Now,
Well,
here is something that we did in District 50, and we did this just a tiny, tiny bit in one of our makeup TLI trainings in January of 2020. We have, because Toastmasters is a nonprofit organization, we do have a nonprofit letter. You can go, Starbucks will donate coffee. They will donate coffee, they will donate cups, and they will donate cream and sugar and all the fixings for whatever you've got in person. So I would go to different places. We went to Subway. Subway will do it. We went to pizza places. Some pizza places will do it. But see if you can get donations. Just go and ask. If they don't want to, then that's okay too. That's not a big deal. But the more stuff that you can get for donations, the better for Toastmasters.
you said pizza places, Starbucks.
We went to Subway sandwiches. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I actually went to, when I was in District 50, I went to Kroger and I went to Market Street. We don't have Market Streets here, but I went to Kroger and I asked for a donation from Kroger, gave them the IRS letter, and they gave me some gift cards. And then I was able to use those gift cards to buy paper goods and stuff. It was great. I mean, I had a lot of fun. So get your area directors to go get some helpers to go out and see if they can get donations. But that's one thing you're going to have to keep on following up with, because we got a donation from Subway for the makeup TLI training. And then when we went back, that same person was not there anymore. So I was like, oh, great. So you're going to have to get it in writing, most likely from the owner of the store, instead of like a manager, because it was a manager who had approved it. And by the time we went over there, that person wasn't there anymore. We went like 2 weeks in advance of the contest, but you're going to have, or the TLI training, but you're going to have to do that. You're going to have to make sure that it's within a reasonable time. I'd say start out with a month, and then on a weekly basis, give them a call and say, okay, we just wanted to make sure that, our training is going to be on October the 18th. Will you have this ready for us?
We've
Amal,
done the
do you
same
have
thing.
anything else? Do you have any other comments? I mean, I know that you missed some of this, but we went over Concur and how to do an expense report. We've gone over budget. We've gone over contests. We've gone over makeup TLI training. We've gone over monthly phone calls with the area directors. Anything else that you can think about?
The only thing that I would miscellaneous thing would be the awards. I'll tell you this, the TI awards are really expensive on TI's website. And the budget that I had is, I had a goal that I was going to beat whatever the budget was that I set out to, because I knew that the district had limited funds. So I was going to try to go under budget. So what I did, and this is just a suggestion, you don't have to follow this, because each of the divisions of all does something different, is division level. I did get those confirmed for the first place and second place and third place awards at the division, and the second and third place the second and third place at the division, and the first, second, and third place at the areas. What I did is, as soon as I knew how many contestants were going to be there, I went ahead and pre-ordered all of those awards on Crown Awards, because their awards are a lot less expensive as long as they're not Toastmaster branded, because that's the only caveat, is you can't get an award from any other company other than Toastmasters International if it's Toastmasters branded. However, if it's not Toastmasters branded, you can get it from any other location that you can find.
Yeah.
I got it from them, and it was far less expensive. Shipping was really doable, and they gave me a turnaround of less than 5 business days. So I was able to get them in way before the contest was done and over. Well, before the contest started. So that would be my suggestion is, because a lot of your budget is going to be tied up to the awards. So that's just one suggestion that I had there. I'll send you all the contest spreadsheets that me and Jerry have developed, as well as the scripts, because we got scripts for the online contest. So once I get home, I'll send all of y'all that. I've also got concurrent instructions that I was given when I was area director. So I can also send you all that went over a lot of what Kristen went over. So all of that I'll send to y'all as well once I get home. And just me and Jabbar did this last year, as well as Maudie, Kristen, and Dean. Just leverage one of us if y'all have any questions, because we are here as a group, for the entire division and the district to succeed. So we are all a team. So just leverage any one of us. If y'all have a question, we'll answer it, or if we can't answer it, we'll find out what the answer is.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Ahmad. It's 11:30. So if nobody has any other questions, and we're going to hop out of this breakout room, and we are going to go back into the main room. And again, if y'all have any questions at all, please reach out to us, ask us. You know, this was just a short training session, but we're here for you for sure.
Thank you all so much.
Thanks, everybody. See you back in the other room.
Thank you.
And welcome back, everybody, from your area director and division director training. I hope you learned a lot of stuff today. We are here for you. So everybody, if you have any questions at all, please don't hesitate to reach out to us, reach out to your area director, reach out to your division director, reach out to the trio, reach out to Stacy. She's the immediate past district director, but she'd be very happy to help you out with anything that you need. Now, at this point in time, we are going to transition over to kind of a mini deck meeting to kind of set the stage for this year and what all of that entails. I am going to actually turn the lectern over to Madi if he would like to take over and kind of talk a little bit about what the deck meetings look like, how often we're going to have them, and then what the calendar is going to look like this year. Madi, will you take it away?
Well, absolutely. Thank you, Kristen. And district leaders, welcome to this new Toastmaster year. And I look forward to working with all of you during our time together, as we all have much to learn from one another. Now, while we want to succeed as a district, what matters more is that we all have much to learn and gain as members and officers within District 63. So I don't have an agenda set, but I would like to everyone to introduce themselves, just so we know who we're going to be working with this year. So just let us know your home club and tell us what you like to do in your free time. And I will let me post this so we can go in order from the top. Is everyone comfortable with that? Being Toastmasters?
Table topics.
Yeah, we're Toastmasters. We love to talk.
Let me just share this. Well, okay, well, I guess I can go first. My name is Marty Foster, and I am looking forward to this year in Toastmasters. My home club is the Cookeville Toastmasters. I am looking and joining an advanced club we have coming up. So if anyone has interest in that, what I do in my free time, I have 3 kids, and they are all involved in sports and ballet. I've been married to my wife for 20 years. But a lot of free time I have is spent at the ball fields. My son is 5 years old. He plays t-ball, and he just got done with his t-ball season in All-Stars. And then they asked him to play on a travel team. So I don't know what that's going to involve, but I'm sure that's going to take up some time as well. But I have a commitment to Toastmasters. I do have a commitment to my family, but I do hold that value of teamwork and responsibility very dearly. So the next person, Kristen Phillips.
Thank you so much, Madi, for that wonderful introduction about yourself. I'm looking forward to helping be on your team this year and collaborating with you. So my name is Kristen Phillips, Program Quality Director this year. What that entails is all things education and training, which is definitely up my alley. In a former lifetime, I was actually a teacher. I was a 3rd grade teacher, and I actually taught a little bit of 2nd grade. That was a lot of fun. So being in Toastmasters, fits right in with everybody, right? 2nd, 3rd graders, perfect. In my spare time, well, I live up here in Mount Juliet. I've lived here for a year. I've lived in Tennessee for over 3 years now. I moved here from Texas, where I started my Toastmasters journey, by the way. In my spare time, besides working at Nissan, I like to ride motorcycles. I think a lot of you know that I have numerous ones. I've got 8 motorcycles. And if you ask me which one I like the best, I will tell you the one I'm riding. And if you ask me why I have so many motorcycles, then I will tell you because I can. And those are my 2 answers, and I'm sticking with it. I also obviously like to speak. I like to talk a lot. I got in a lot of trouble in grade school for talking too much, so Toastmasters is perfect for me. And I crochet, and I am a grandmother of 2 grandchildren, ages 6 and 5. And then both of my sons are United States Marines, besides me being in the Tennessee State Guard as a lieutenant. Okay, that's enough about me. I'm going to pass the Zoom lectern over to Dean Phillips.
Hey, everybody. I am Dean Phillips, and I am the Club Growth Director this year, which means that anything to do with building new clubs and trying to keep membership from going downhill, which we need to turn that back around the other way. We need to get more people interested again, and we need to have programs that support that. And that's what all of you are a part of. That's the great part of Toastmasters is we're a great team that works very well together on focusing on problems and finding solutions. My free time, let's see. Here's my free time, a few minutes here and there. But beyond that, I have 3 jobs that I'm working on, working with Purdue University. I work in technology and AR, VR. My free time then consists mainly of Toastmasters, and I'm very proud to be part of this group. If there's anything you need, let's say you're looking at needing club coaches for one of your clubs, please contact me. If you need help or somebody says, hey, we have an interest in Toastmasters, please contact me. And Ahmad's on here too. I didn't see Jason, but I did see them on there from our team. Of course, I see Sarah Beth on here from our emerging Toastmasters group. And I want to thank them for taking part of it. I did not see Stacy, of course, is mentoring, and of course, Nick and Dory for their help. With that, I will turn it over to the next available person. I don't see Jason here. I didn't see Sonia. So, Mikkel.
Hello, my name is Michael Tolan. I am the administration manager for this year. My home club is Parthenon Club. We're in Division D, so in the Nashville area. In my spare time, I like spending time pretty much with Toastmasters and my family. Next, I'm gonna pass it over to Stacy Thomas, our leadership chair here and past division director. Please help me welcome Stacy.
Thank you, Mikhail. As Ms. Mikhail said, I'm Stacy Thomas. I am immediate past district director this year, which means I am here to help you with whatever you need. All you have to do is ask. And then I'm also serving as the leadership chair, and that means that I will be finding those folks who, all of you guys, if you're ready to step up next year into a division director role, and then also we'll be looking for folks to fill your roles as area directors. So I'll be calling on you for a lot of help, I'm sure, because you're in a place where you can identify those future leaders. For past times, this past year has been pretty much Toastmasters full time, but hopefully I can get into some more of the creative things that I enjoy. All right, Vicki Stevens, are you on?
I am. And I apologize for no video. I'm having connection issues. But thank you, Stacy, for that. And my name is Vicki Stevens. I'll be serving as the Division B director this year. I served as the Area 11 director this past year. I've been with Toastmasters, since 2018. My home club is First Sentinel Bank. We are a corporate club. So I've had the pleasure of getting to launch a new club, charter a new club, and watch it grow. So that was extremely exciting, and I hope that's something that we'll see more of in Division B this coming year. In terms of things that I do in my spare time, I have recently taken up learning how to quilt. So I go to a lot of classes and practice quilting in my spare time. And my husband and I also just brought home a brand new puppy about 3 weeks ago. So we are raising a little sweet Cavapoo puppy right now. So most of my spare time is spent chasing him around the house. And I will now pass it over to our Area 10 Director, Lee Reynolds.
Thank you, Vicki. I am Lee Reynolds. I've been a member of Tuesday Toasters since I believe 2016 was the original date. I've let the memberships slide at least once, but have continued to attend meetings and served in various roles in that. I've been a president, a treasurer, secretary, and BPPR this year. So lots of things to learn, as is consistent with Toastmasters. In my free time, I do a lot of reading. I actually bought the book from the last week. Now it's blurred out, the mindset book that somebody recommended in the last TLI, and trying to get back into reading more for business and professional development in addition to for fun. I'm also a shooter as a general rule, so I used to shoot a lot of skeet and stuff like that. Haven't done any of that really in the past 2 or 3 years, but as with any old hobby, I still consider myself, even if I don't practice it much. And I guess with that, I'll turn it over to Lane for Area 11.
Thank you, Lee. My name is Lane McCroskey, and I am with Wolf Hills Toastmasters in Abingdon, Virginia. I live in Bristol, Virginia, and I'm going to serve as Area 11 Director this year. I have no pets. I have no children. I have one husband, so that's how I spend my time. And I am actually a 16-year cancer survivor, a brain cancer survivor, as of this month. So that's happy news. And that also informs a lot of what I do in Toastmasters. I am looking to advocate for new cancer patients who are looking to become familiar with their survivorship and understand all that comes to mean. So that informs a lot of the work I do in Toastmasters. And I will now turn things over to John Tate.
Thank you. Hello, everyone. My name is John Tate, and I am from the Morning Cup in Maryville, Tennessee, and I will be serving as the Area 21 Director this year. I work as a financial advisor in my career. My wife and I have 4 children, and I'm getting ready to have a lot more free time with our last 2 children leaving for college starting in the fall. I spent most of my times going to swim meets, and so I was late today because I was officiating one of the swim meets. So if anybody has great ideas about what empty nesters should do, send me a note in the chat or wherever. If you don't do that, we'll figure out something else. But now I'm going to turn it over to Jessica. Maybe is Jessica with us?
I don't think Jessica's on.
Okay.
I didn't see Laura or Carolyn, so you might have to skip down to Nick.
Well, let's go, Nick. Let's hear from you.
All right, I thought I had more time to prepare. So I'm Nick Sager, Division D Director this year. I was Area 43 Director last year for Division D. My home club, though, is based in Division E, Harpeth View Toastmasters. I've been in Toastmasters since February of 2017, served as club president, treasurer, BPE, and really enjoy it. For fun, I do my best to avoid video games. While doing so, I lead a software development meetup, kind of a monthly meetup, as well as do some consulting on the side. And my day job and night job is data nerd. Just keep it short and simple. There's tons of different names for the kind of work I do: analytics, business intelligence, but really it's just I make data look good. Next up, for within my area, we have Michelle Holden. Michelle, are you ready?
I am ready. Hi there. Hey, everybody. First, I have to say that this is the most interesting group of people ever. I'm sitting here taking notes on everybody, and I'm going to harken back to owning 8 motorcycles. Oh, wow. But it's a pleasure to be part of this group. I've been in Toastmasters for a long time. I've been in North Carolina. I lived in Grand Cayman Island for a little while. I was a member of Toastmasters there, and then I came back here and joined. So I also love talking and love being in Toastmasters. I've been married for almost 28 years. I have 4 kiddos. 2 of them are in doctorate programs at Emory and Vandy in the sciences, also science nerds. And then I have one who's finishing up at UT, Chattanooga in marketing, also a data guy. And my last one, again, we have a lot in common. Kristen he is a Marine out in California. He's 20 years old. He decided to go the Marine route before college. He's a gunner on Huey helicopters. Makes me even more prayerful than I've ever been before. And my area of expertise is I'm an executive coach. I work predominantly with women, but I work in a corporate setting and I also work from home. Love Pilates, walking. I'm into kind of health and fitness. My passion is learning French and reading. I'm an avid reader, love business books. I know that sounds nerdy, but my pleasure is reading business books. And I create mastermind classes for executive women and maybe women who have been at home, have a lot of talents, but they're not sure what the next couple of decades are going to look like. So no matter what I'm doing, I'm always connecting and speaking, and that's why I need Toastmasters to keep me sharp. Thank you. Oh, and next, let me introduce Teresa Dunbar. Teresa, are you there?
Don't think she is.
How about Lynn Blake, Area 42?
I am here.
There you
Good
go.
morning, everyone. Lynn Blake. My home club is Harpeth View. I've been in Toastmasters on and off for about 15 years. And I've had the opportunity to live in 2 other countries, Australia and France. I've been married again for 27 years, and free time, it's kind of an interesting question, free time, because I'm actually on a job search now. So I've got lots of free time. And but what I really love to do is to gourmet cook. So that's me in a nutshell, and I will pass it over to Dory Nolan.
Wow, Lynn, that was quick. Thank you. My home club is Harpeth View Toastmasters, and this year I am also their VP of PR, so be expecting to see some stuff from me. Personal, I am a student getting my art degree. I love to paint and draw, write, hopefully have a couple kids book coming out this year. Love to garden. I have found I love plants, so I'm out there, and you should, if anybody wants any cucumbers, please let me know. I planted too many. And we have 5 dogs. They're rescues. I also do relaxation therapy and sing, cook. I like to cook for people. Anybody wants lunch, let me know. Other than that, let's now go to, is Jabbar on?
No,
Jabbar?
he's not on. He's not on today.
Well, Sarah Beth? Sarah Beth?
Hi, I'm here.
Awesome. On to you, Sarah Beth.
Hi, I'm Sarah Beth. My last name's pronounced Yamiokowski, but don't worry about that because I never use it. Just call me Sarah Beth. My home club is BMI Keynotes. I work in the music industry and digital licensing. I'm originally from Virginia Beach, Virginia. So my spare time used to be spent surfing in the ocean or skateboarding, but now I'm stuck inland. So I play a lot of video games. I like to do karaoke. That's basically me in a nutshell. So is Jordan on? No? All right, then I'm going to introduce you to my fellow BMI keynote, Andy Creek.
Good morning, everyone. Almost afternoon. My name's Andy Creek, and as Sarah Beth said, I'm in the same club as Sarah Beth at BMI Keynotes. BMI stands for Broadcast Music, Inc. So we're down in Nashville area, corporate club. Had several officer roles there, but this is my first year as an area director. So really looking forward to that and working with all of you. As far as what I do in my spare time, well, at BMI, I'm a project and program manager, been there for years. On my own, outside of work and Toastmasters, I like to do a little work in the yard, have a small garden, home projects, which usually means that I end up having to ask my husband to help the things that I can't figure out after I've started them. And also I'm with John on getting ready to be an empty nester. My daughter and only child is getting ready to go to UT Knoxville in about a month. So right now, a little bit of my spare time is also working with her to make sure she's prepared for that. So that's me in a nutshell as well. And I'll hand off to Kelly Hughes if Kelly is here. Now I know Ahmed, I saw you on, I didn't see, so Kelly may not be here. So Ahmed, are you still in your car and safe to talk?
Yeah, I can.
Okay, hand it off to you then.
Thanks. Well, my name is Amar Gillen. I'm Division F Director again for this next year term. I was Area 60 Director 2 years ago. And I'm also this term helping out Dean Phillips with Club Growth as well for this year. My home club is Fruit of the Loom Toastmasters, and I've been with Toastmasters on and off for about 17 years. And what I do in my spare time typically is golfing if I've got the time, doing a little bit of traveling and hanging out with family is what I usually do in my spare time. I will go ahead then and hand it off to Kurt. Are you here, Kurt?
I am. Good morning. My name is Kurt Menser. I'm a member of Thoroughbred Toastmasters in Bowling Green, Kentucky, and also a member of Community Toastmasters 3009 in Muskegon, Michigan. I got in Toastmasters in 1986. I have 4 to 6 minutes, right? I got in Toastmasters in 1986 because I got promoted to a training job and I was petrified to talk to more than one person at a time. I count Toastmasters as the reason for my success. My goal with my clubs is to get back out of the way and let them help each other. That's what I'd really like to see happen. If that does, I'll be a happy guy. In my spare time, I have 2 150-pound Newfoundlands and we are friends. And I also am a woodworker. I recently took an old coffee table and made a beautiful pallet out of it. All right, I'm done. I'm turning it over to Don.
Thank you, Kirk. Good morning, good afternoon, everyone. So my name is actually pronounced Donya or Donya. It has a Inya over the N. So I know it looks as if it's Donna. But this is my first time being AD for Toastmasters. I'm actually part of the Cummins Chatterboxes for Cummins Inc. And so super excited to be a part of this organization with Toastmasters. I've learned so much in the last 2 years, and then just getting an opportunity to be here today and meet all of you and hear all of, man, the tips and best practices and things is awesome. So what I do in my spare time is I like to travel whenever possible. So you can imagine COVID really hurt my feelings really, really bad. But I am in the process of getting back out there as much as I possibly can. My oldest daughter just got engaged last weekend. So now she is texting me every 5 minutes about venues and locations. And I'm like, oh my gosh. I said, I need about 2 more jobs, lady, to pay for this. So I'm super excited about this. But outside of travel, I love to spend all of my time with my family. And I will turn it over to Monica.
Thank you, Donya. Thank you very much. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Monica Thomas. I have the privilege of serving Area 63. This is my 2nd time around. I am enjoying it. I love the training. A little bit about myself. I am a wife and I am a mother of 2. For the past 15 years, I have been fully homeschooling. Actually, I'm currently homeschooling. My oldest is now 20 and he's thriving in college, focusing on finance and data analytics. And my 14-year-old, 14 and a half, she's a rising 9th grader. She's still baking in the oven. So I have some more time with her. I've been in Toastmasters for 11 years. I chose to be a part of Toastmasters because of my current profession, full-time mother, and housekeeper and therapist and doctor, as well as a schooler. I wanted to make sure that I was able to keep my skills sharpened because I knew there was going to be another transition. I do know what I'm going to be doing thanks to Toastmasters. That is still baking, so I'll let you know when it's ready to come out of the oven. Again, I've been in Toastmasters for 11 years. I enjoy the training, the focus, and that everyone really wants you to grow. My free time, I love puzzles. I love puzzles. I love exercising. I love meditation and yoga and Pilates. I love life, and I love peace. That's all I have for you. And I do believe I'm the last one on the list. Please correct me if I'm wrong.
No, I believe that's it. That's our team. We still are missing a few members, and hopefully the administration manager, Mikhail, has made note of that for our next meeting. And what our next meeting is everyone here is part of the District Executive Council District Executive Council. We call it the DEC. And we try to have a monthly meeting in which the district officers and members of district committees discuss club, area, division, and district goals, as well as conduct other district business and obtain this leadership training that can help us in our goals. So with the convenience of Zoom, we plan to have these meetings at least once a month. We used to have to meet and coordinate these, but with Zoom, the convenience, we can have these meetings once a month. And that's something we really need to agree on a good day of the month that we can attend these meetings. Last year, we had it on the second Thursday of the month at 7 o'clock Central Time, and that seemed to fit everyone's schedule pretty well. So I can send out a note, try to get some good times, or if we can agree that Thursday night at 7 o'clock p.m. Central Time is a good time, we can try to coordinate that and put it on our schedule. Does anyone have any conflicts with Thursday night at 7 o'clock, the second Thursday of the month at 7 o'clock Central Time?
I think I saw an email from Sonia. I know she couldn't be here today, but I think she said something about specifically the second Thursday was a problem for her. I'm going from memory, so I need to probably double check that. She may have been saying third Thursday for all.
No, you're right, Nick.
Okay.
She said the second.
So
we could do a poll like Zoom Master John Grigsby. John Grigsby, do you have the capability of running a poll?
I do not, as I am not the host. Whoever the host is, I believe it's Kristen.
Can you make a co-host?
Now he does.
I just made you the host.
Hot potato.
Well, all right then. Let's see here. Where's it at?
Your transition music is
Yeah,
Christmas music.
I don't see. Well, the first thing come to mind, Nick. I don't see the ability to put a poll on here. Is that may not be in the account? Account may not have it set up.
I don't know. I don't know if I've got that set up on my different computer.
You have to turn the setting on in your account before your meetings will have that option.
Yeah. I don't
Good
think
idea.
I did, John. Marty, you may have to send out just an email and have everybody, or send out a poll on an email, Survey Monkey.
All right, I will do that.
I use a tool called Zcal. I don't know if you've heard of Doodle. It's a free, kind of a free version of Doodle where you can vote on calendar slots. So you can just put the whole calendar out there and let people pick the days and times that work for them.
You know, if you give suggestions, Nick, then you automatically get volunteered for it.
Fair enough. Here, I'll show you how easy it is. This is going to turn into an ad hoc training. So, meeting poll, find out when everyone is free to meet by asking them to vote on times. Boop. D63 recurring deck. I could put Zoom here, but it integrates with my personal Zoom account, so I won't bother with that. Next. And the benefit of me doing this, let's see, what we schedule an hour, right? the benefit of me doing this is it integrates with my calendar. So whatever you guys vote on, you can only vote on things that work with my calendar. Time slot increments, yeah, 30 minutes. And select availability. Double book prevention.
I think that'll be more than 30 minutes.
Oh no, the increment, how frequently, see on the right here, how frequently time slots are displayed. So I could, I could do chunks of 15 and that's just cumbersome, like making everyone vote on chunks of 15. 30 may be cumbersome. Should I do an hour? Okay, chunks of an hour. So even hours only. And this is an example. Remove this. I guess that's somewhere I'm supposed to be able to choose.
Would you choose intervals over there instead of slots? Do intervals?
Whoa, did you just break my session? I think you did. I don't know. What works for you? Okay, event duration an hour. Hour increments. There we go, huh? Okay, so we want to meet what in the next week? Or do we want to vote like picking our recurrence to start on one of these days, right? So we want to have our first official recurring deck meeting sometime this month if we can. I can't see you guys nodding your heads, yes or no.
Well, I
so-
think that, I mean, I think that this is our first sort of informal deck meeting. So our next
so-
one would be August. Is that right, Marty?
Yes, next month.
Okay.
Okay, so everyone vote on sometime.
I think that's too much. I just think that's going to get ugly.
Yeah,
Like
I'd say let's do it in 1 week, like from the 8th to the 14th.
Okay, that works.
Because that'll give us an entire week for people to choose what availability is for them.
I see. So then we would be shooting for whatever somebody votes on, they're going to be saying that they can meet at that time during the second week of each month, every month. For the foreseeable future. Stuff obviously comes up.
We already know that one person will not be able to make.
Well, Thursdays at 7 they can't make,
Right.
but they might be able to do Fridays at 5:30 or whatever. Okay, I appreciate all the input. I want to make sure this poll is going to work. Visibility public, deadline, what, 7 days? We need to know pretty soon. We'll put it in your local time so that avoids communication. Create poll, copy link. Paste it in the chat. There you go. Everybody vote.
Now, there was only one time slot there. It was from 8 to 9 p.m.
I've got a pretty full calendar, Kristen. Is that really what
It's all about Nick, isn't it?
It's
All about Nick.
Nick.
Thank you, Dean.
Let's see. There's.
Looks like
I might have
turned
made
off
it.
at 9 p.m. Sorry, 8 to 9 Central or Eastern's the latest I see. But
Yeah.
yeah, interesting.
If this will work, let's just say so. I can stop
And then you
blushing.
only have
Stop
Sunday,
sharing my
Monday,
screen.
Wednesday, Friday, and Saturday. You don't have
Yeah.
Thursday on there.
Yeah, there's no Thursday on there, Nick.
What can I tell you? I guess I'm full on Thursdays.
Well, Sonia was the only one who had the issue with Thursday night. I don't know if anybody else did.
Apparently I did. I'll check what my calendar is saying. I don't know why I have.
Maybe because you already have the deck meeting scheduled and that's why it's.
It
Yes,
could be.
exactly.
Um,
You have the existing deck meeting probably listed.
Yeah, he does because he sends me the invites to make sure I'm there.
Maybe. Yeah, it looks like I did. And I do have a standing appointment at 8 p.m. That's when I need to go to bed. Not really go to bed, but wind down for bed. I'm open to suggestion. I can edit
I agree
this.
with Lynn.
What's
That maybe we should just try for the third Thursday at 7 p.m.
Just keep it simple. I mean, if that's what you guys are used to, but we have one member who can't. I mean, if everybody can do that, it might make it simpler.
Yep. I can do that.
So.
Okay, good deal. So next month on the third Thursday, which will be the 19th.
Well, three people saying they can do that isn't necessarily a vote. Are we?
Oh, I
doing
thought
a
we were
vote
keeping
or-
it simple.
Oh, sorry. Just lots of people
Anybody
on mute.
can't do it.
Yeah, anyone who can't do it, speak up quickly. Hearing none.
Okay. Then I guess it will be August 19th will be our first deck meeting. Well, it's going to be Dory's birthday, so guess what we're going to do then? We're going to have to sing her happy birthday. But anyway, at this meeting, please, we're going to have reports from each of the officers and area director and division directors. So please have a report. Those reports are usually just a couple minutes long, and we'll have the agenda out prior to the meeting. I want to have a few notes right now. We have the Toastmasters International Convention coming up on the 23rd and to the 28th. And our very own Daryl Pace in District 63 will be competing in the International Speech Contest on Tuesday, August 24th, between 7:30 and 9 o'clock Eastern time. So it'd be great if you can get registered, talk to your clubs, get them involved, let them know. That'd be a great opening connection with them to let them know about this Toastmasters International Convention. So that'd be a great way to start building rapport with your clubs. It's also Friday, Toastmasters sent out an email that contains proxy information. And these proxies are assigned to individuals to make that vote for our leaders in the international sector. So that's another talking point you can have when you introduce yourself to the clubs, is to remind them to go fill out their proxy. So I know it's running on 12/17, and I want to see if Kristen or Dean or our immediate past district director, Stacy Thomas, has anything to add before we adjourn today. Kristen?
I just want to make sure that everybody has got on their calendars. I know that Maddie and Dean and I went through our calendars for contest this year. Maddie, what did we put down on the calendar to have our area or to have our division contest done by? I know it was in October.
Kristen, I'll have to verify that. I know we're going to plan on having a fall summit on the 16th of October. So I will check the calendar. We'll have the calendar out this next week. Okay,
Perfect.
so be looking for that calendar. It's going to be filled with everything on there, so you can plan for that. The first thing we do need to look for is the budgets. Please, division directors, please get those budgets sent to us so we can put that into our budget, because we will be voting on approving the budget in our September deck meeting. So we'll be approving the budget and also the appointments for all the division or all the area directors in that September meeting.
Okay, we are going to be having some judges training. Obviously, we need to have some really, really good judges for these upcoming contests this year. We are going to have 4 contests this year. We're not going to do humorous contest, but we are going to be doing tall tales. Tall tales is pretty much the same thing. It's a little slightly bit different than humorous, but most of the time tall tales is funny. We'll have evaluation, we'll have table topics, and of course the international speech competition. But we are going to have some judges training, and that is going to be up and coming in the next month or 2. And we are also going to have new member orientation. So this is going to be for all of our new members that joined Toastmasters from January 1 of 2020, went all the way through the coronavirus thing. I don't like to call it a pandemic, a thing, all the way up until now. So what I would like to see is all of those new members redo their oath to Toastmasters in front of everybody, and then go through the training on pathways. Have everybody select a path, because our pathways adoption rates are way low, and they should not be low, because this is all we're doing is pathways. So we're going to do that. We're going to do judges training, and then we're going to have a special fall summit this year. And the summit is going to be special because we're going to have some extra training in there, and we're actually going to have some really good accolades and awards for those Toastmasters clubs that did really good last year. And then of course, we've got our awards for Area Director of the Year, Division Director of the Year, and Toastmaster of the Year. So we're all going to do that in the fall summit. And then coming up after that is going to be our winter TLI training. We want to make sure everybody gets trained. We had a lot of people at summer TLI. I'm hoping that we have almost everybody trained by all of the makeup sessions. I'll be getting in everybody's info into the Toastmaster site and make sure that everybody gets credit within the next week or 2, because I've got a lot of people to input for all of the training that they went through. Okay, enough. On to you, Dean.
Thank you so much, Kristen. Thank you to everybody for being here today. This is a great opportunity for us all to get together and kind of not only just get training, but also network with each other to see what everybody needs. And believe me, as you go through this year, after last year when I was area director, there were a lot of things that I thought I knew that I didn't have a clue about until I actually got in there and did some of this. So please feel free to reach out to us, and we can help with a lot of the questions you might have. The other thing that I certainly would like to ask is that all of you be on the lookout for opportunities for new clubs. Things like if we can start clubs because, for instance, Michelle, you had mentioned about working with women's groups. We could certainly work on creating a women's Toastmasters group for people, or maybe an empty nesters group. We could come up with a lot of different ways to find some new groups that would fit a Toastmasters group with a certain focus, very narrowed focus. So please think in those terms and think about what opportunities might be out there, and think about maybe even the company you work for. We'd like to, even if they're interested in starting a group, we'd like to help them. Back to you, Marty, or actually I think Stacy was next.
Just very quickly, Marty, Kristen, Dean, thank you for a wonderful training today. This has been great. I'm looking forward to working with all of you this year, and I encourage all of you to look around the screen, because these folks can be your best friends. Make friends with all of them. Rely on each other, call on each other, help each other out. It'll be a very rewarding year for all of us. Marty, I'll turn it back over to you.
Well, thank you, Stacy. And again, thank you everyone for attending today. You know, this is going to be a year of possibilities. And when I was in Chick-fil-A the other day, I saw something on their name tag that really resonated with me. It said, success is sometimes disguised by hard work. And I think if everyone puts in the effort, we can really achieve great things in this district. And I encourage everyone to just put that little extra effort in, because we're all a team and we all want to achieve that success. So I think we should wrap this up. Thank you for your time today, and we will meet again on August the 19th at 7:00 p.m. Please start meeting with your clubs and start building that rapport, because this is going to be an experience that you'll never forget. Thanks a lot.